I'm Luis Scott, managing partner of Bader Scott Injury Lawyers, one of the fastest growing law firms in the country, and I'm also the co-founder of 8-Figure Firm Consulting. I've successfully built multiple companies by focusing on leadership, operations, and culture. Using these principles, my companies have generated close to $100 million in revenue. But before any of this success, I started my legal career as a receptionist, and I worked my way up to becoming managing partner. In each episode of this podcast, I sit down with leaders and entrepreneurs who have had the guts to step out on their own and the courage to face adversity. They share with us their tips for achievement, the challenges they have faced, and the glory of success. I welcome you to the Guts and Glory Show.
Chad Franzen here, one of the hosts of the Guts and Glory Show, where we feature top leaders who share challenges of leadership, the guts it takes to succeed, and the glory of success. This episode is brought to you by 8-Figure Firm Consulting. At 8-Figure Firm, they help law firms grow to 8 figures. Luis Scott was telling me when he started his career, he was working over 80 hours a week to make partner. After that, he finally started his own firm and wished he had someone walking him through the steps to growth. At 8-Figure Firm, they show you how to develop a business that works for you instead of you working for it. Go to 8figurefirm.com to learn more. Today, we have Charlotte Christian, the owner of Charlotte Christian Law in Huntsville, Alabama, where she is not only driven to serve her clients and employees, but also to wake up daily with a plan of how to do and be better. Charlotte, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing well. Thank you.
So tell me a little bit more about Charlotte Christian Law and what you guys do and what kind of clients you serve.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're a firm that's based in Huntsville, Alabama. We serve from Birmingham, Alabama northward. We have offices in Birmingham as well as Huntsville. But we do family law and we do personal injury. So we sort of look at it as that we serve the family all the way around. So if you have a family law issue, we're going to be able to help you. If we can't help you, we know the best people to send it out to. So we try to just say, come back to us and we'll take care of you in all gamuts of the family.
What's an example of family law?
So if you just look at family law itself, you're going to be looking at divorce, custody, child support, issues between parents. That's going to be the family law. And then, of course, the personal injury is, if you're injured or your family or your friends are injured, that's the personal injury piece that goes along with it.
What attracted you to becoming an attorney? Or when did you first know that you wanted to be one?
I wanted to be a business person. I grew up sort of with a business person mindset. I remember when I was a little chap, I probably was, I was in grade school. I remember deciding that my grandfather, who I lived with, needed to have a small engines business, even though he wasn't a small engines person. I'm not sure where I got that from, but I set him up a little business down in our basement and started trying to figure out how I could get him some customers. So I made some little cards up and took them to school for my friends to give to their dads and put some information at the grocery stores. And he started getting a little business off of that. But I knew then I wanted to be a business person. And then when I grew older and decided I really wanted to go to law school because I thought I could help more people that way, I made the decision, went to law school, and I practiced for many years before I started building the family and the personal injury practice. But now then we're pretty busy and I'm not able to personally practice as much anymore. I do more firm management, but I oversee all the cases. I have my hands in them. I know what's happening, but as a general rule goes, I oversee the practice now and act more in a CEO role, but that in itself is plenty of work.
You said you thought that you could help more people that way. What made you what in your upbringing made you decide you wanted to help people as kind of a daily thing?
Yeah. So I unfortunately lost my father at a very young age. I was 18 months old and he was killed in an accident. And, the accident that he was killed in was very much preventable. A small latch on the door opened and caused him to be thrown from the vehicle. And he was killed as a result from that. So, that weighed heavily on me my whole life. And then suddenly I was married. It was in a great marriage. And my husband passed away suddenly. So, those two things together sort of made me look at the fact that I really understand losing everything. I understand the fear that came from losing, those that you love. And so, really those two events put together made me really want to step out and help more people because I saw the pain that you go through, and I saw, either having somebody or not having somebody support you, how crucial that is for you to survive. And just the life that I lived, I think really broke down for me that I wanted to help people. So it drove me into that direction.
Good for you. That's a great story of resiliency. So how did you kind of get into the legal industry then once you went to law school?
Yeah, so when I went to law school, when I got out, I actually was a real estate closing attorney and had that practice up until my husband passed away. And after he passed away, I then just decided I really didn't want to stay in the town where he and I lived, and I needed to do something else. So uh, changed areas, changed directions, sold my real estate closing practice, and tried to really try to break into to helping more people than just those who were purchasing or selling a house.
So then how did Charlotte Christian Law come about?
Yeah, so I guess that was my biggest step out, that I had to step out, and I had a comfortable living, and I had to step out and say I want to do something else. So I went down the road to Huntsville, where I am now, and started a new practice, and chose helping others through family law and PI, and really started putting those two together. And then right before COVID, started really putting a firm together, because I saw that, just me, I could touch 50 to 60 people a year. But if I had other lawyers working in the firm who were really high quality lawyers who had the ability to, scale what I was doing, we could touch and help so many more. So, we're a completely, we're a driven firm on our values. And so, we measure everything we do against our values. And so really teach that we're here to help people. We're here to understand people's why. So we're not just here to shuffle paper through or to, look at you as a number. If you're our client, we're really client focused and try to get to the why so that we can help people. So I know that makes us different. I see that the time that we spend and the promises that we make and that we fulfill are just completely different than I see in other places. So I'm happy with that, and happy that we've been able to put that together.
How big of a firm do you have now?
So we have, let's see, we're adding our fifth attorney now besides myself. We have about 19 employees. So
Okay.
A small firm.
Sure. No, very nice. Very nice. What's a favorite story from your practice?
My favorite story is I had a father who had two little girls, and their mother took them to another state, and I won't tell who it is or where she took them, but she took them to another state to live with a boyfriend. And we traced her down, found her, and got a court hearing. Basically, pulled her back to Alabama. She drove to Alabama all night from the other state along with her boyfriend. Got here early morning, and told the judge basically she intended to stay in the other state with her boyfriend. And the judge told her if she did that was fine. It was her choice. But he gave custody to our client, which was it was an emotional day for all of us. The children were, torn because they had been taken to this other state. They didn't know exactly what was happening. So we really spent the first day and then many days thereafter trying to get their comfort level created and trying to really reach out and provide something magical for them. So we worked hard on that case, but the joy in that has been watching those girls grow up. I've watched them from the time dad got them until now, and I think one of them's in high school now. So it's been really a joy for me to watch them grow up and know that what we did contributed to their being here, being safe with their dad.
Yeah. Wow. That's a great story. So I'd like to talk about more of your some of the lessons learned in your practice journey. How did you discover Eight Figure Firm and Louise Scott?
So I've coached with several different people, and I attribute so much of the success of this firm to coaching and to who I've worked with, who've helped to bring the firm to where it is. But I just got to a different place and discovered Louise, and was happy to find them because it's takes about 2 hours and 15 minutes from my house to get to where they are. So I'm over there quite a bit. And Eight Figure Firm is just it's really kind of hard to explain. It's a group of people who really care about you, care about your firm, and they take the time to spend it with you. And Luis just has numbers figured out. He's able to put numbers to make them make sense for your firm. So I attribute a lot to what he's done to our growth. We were fortunate in 2021 to grow pretty exponentially. And he was a large part of that. And there's no time that I can't reach him. If I have a problem, I'm able to get to him or talk to him, or he's there for me. So I don't have to remind him at every coaching session what my issues are, because he and I talk during the week, or I'm talking to somebody that's in his business during the week. So they've got some kind of system fixed up so that they can really know, everybody knows what's going on. So it's very helpful.
When you say he has numbers figured out, what are some maybe a lesson you learned from him that kind of changed your practice?
Yeah, so he's really good about knowing and giving you the exact percentages that you should be using from your budget. So if you bring in $1 million a month, there's a formula of how you should actually spend that money if you're either wanting to grow or if you're wanting to stay static or just grow a small amount. So there's different percentages on how that money should be spent based on where you are and what you want to do. And he understands those numbers and shares those. He understands and shares with you, how much money you should be bringing in per person who's employed in your firm. That's a real number, and that's a business number that a lot of people do not teach. He also teaches and is aware of how much money you should be able to make in your population before you've grown out of your population, and before you may need to add other practice areas or look at another geography. So he brings a lot of numbers. He's good with that. Luis's background, I think, his his dad is a really good guy who seems to have taught him well, and he's just brought a lot of business perspective to Bader Scott, and is very free in sharing that with 8-figure firm clients.
How much of a transition was it for you to kind of go from, a skilled attorney to more of like a manager or a CEO type person, running a business?
Running a business is difficult. There's nothing easy about it, but my firm was actually able to really grow and transition to provide a better product once I was able to get out and I was able to put the bases in place. So it was quite a transition to run a business like a business, but it's so much better for the clients because now I can oversee, everything that's being done. The processes and procedures are in place. So it's not just willy-nilly that, you get treated this way if you get this attorney, or this way if you get this attorney. You're going to have a static process with us. No matter who your attorney is, you're going to be treated well, and you're going to be treated the same way. So, putting all that together took a pretty serious transition, but it's been one that's has been beneficial to what we're doing for sure.
So, as you know, this is called the Guts and Glory Show. We like to feature stories involving guts and glory. So can you tell me a story that took guts, where you guys overcame something?
I think the guts that it took, I think my guts story is just that I was willing to lay down a practice area that was providing me with a good income and do something else. I think that was my gut story, is that I was willing to do that. And then I was willing to go all in. I mean, you have to go, you just have to go all in. You can't just have your hand a little bit in it and look and plan to succeed. You'll wake up and be 25 years from now and have not succeeded. So I think the big gut story for me was starting a practice area that's done very well.
What made that gutsy, do you feel like?
Well, giving up giving up a sure income, or giving up something that you've known for 15 years, going to a new city where I didn't know the courts as well. I didn't know the judges, had to build completely new relationships, had to build a completely new marketing plan, had to build everything to go to another city. I mean, that took guts. I couldn't have done that if I had been scared or timid or afraid. I failed plenty of times. I mean, I've got plenty of failure stories, but I've tried to fail up, so I'm in probably about the 5th iteration of Charlotte Christian Law of trying to get it right, to take care of people the most, the best way that I can. Certainly, I wouldn't say that the first iteration of anybody's firm is their end iteration. If it is, I I would argue that it has room to grow.
That's a great story. Good for you. Good for you, Charlotte. Can you tell me a glory story? Like what are you particularly proud of?
I'm really proud of the team that we've put together. We just have an amazing team. We have a great team of lawyers who are highly skilled, who came to work with us most of them out of big law, where they were, burned out on spending the time feeling like they weren't necessarily fulfilling their own personal goals and objectives. And they, came to our firm, and, they feel like that it's a different firm. And so for me, that feels good, because I know that they're able to give good relationships to the clients, give good care to the clients. But, when you work in family law, it's, there's going to be some rough times. I mean, even if you win, it's what we call a win, you still haven't won, because when you get a divorce, you're losing half of you. You're losing half of what you know. If you've been injured in an accident, you've had to go through injury, pain. You've had to go through, so much to get back to be whole. There's not really a way to win at the end of the day. So, it's, I guess, just seeing people come out on the other end, at least able to start a new day and a new life. That's the glory that we feel.
Final question for you. Do you have a mentor or some mentors, and can you tell me maybe what their best advice was for you?
Yeah, I think that I've had several mentors throughout my life. I had some teachers who were mentors, and I had my grandfather was a great mentor to me. And the way that he was a great mentor is that he was very studious. Nightly, he would read books as before he would go to bed. He would sit down, read, study his books, and he was always prepared. But he was always just good to people. He taught me to be good to people, and to not take anything for granted, but just live every day and really try to be good to people, and just give myself. So that's what I try to do. He was a great mentor. Then I had a few teachers who were really good mentors in my life. But I've tried to put myself in situations where people were knew more than I knew, who could give something to me to try to make me better. I'm a pretty voracious reader. I really like to read, and try to pull out as much as I can from reading and from other people who've been there. Luis is an amazing mentor for me. There's several that I can name, but those folks there have been very influential in my life.
Do you have any books that you have found particularly enjoyable or valuable?
Recently I've read a couple of the Chick-fil-A books from the marketing director, I believe, and then the HR director of Chick-fil-A. Both just put out books recently. Those are really good. And then, of course, Jim Collins' books are good and Good Grade. All those are good. There's just so many good books right now. It's hard to name just one, but I'm a huge fan of the Chick-fil-A books.
Okay. Yeah, those are good suggestions. Well, thank you so much for today, Charlotte. It's been a great treat having you on. We've been talking with Charlotte Christian, the owner of Charlotte Christian Law. Where can people find you?
You can find us online at charlottechristianlaw.com, or you can call us at 256-859-7277.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Charlotte. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So long, everybody.
You've been listening to the Guts and Glory Show with Luis Scott. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to share. For more information on this episode, please see the show notes at www.gutsandgloryshow.com. And join us next time as we talk to another leader in business that had the guts to overcome all odds for the glory of success.